One of them, anyway. Are they waiting for all of them?
Right, that was it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here for our final panel of Friday night, Monsterpalooza. Hope you had a great night. And this is a great way to end it, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Great, all right. I'm gonna bring up our moderator for our Terrifier panel, Mr. Trevor Shand. Bring him a big round.
Hello everybody, how's it going? Welcome one and all. My name is Trevor. I'm with the radio station KROQ here in town, the creative director and the voice of the station. I'm also with Bloody Disgusting, host of their Boot Through podcast. And again, thank you so much for being here. So, alright, tonight we are celebrating one of most likely the biggest success stories in horror history, a franchise that started with a tiny independent film built outside the studio system, fueled almost entirely by word of mouth, practical effects, and an uncompromising vision. What began as a cult discovery exploded into a worldwide phenomenon. The latest installment became the highest grossing unrated film of all time. More than 90 million worldwide on a production budget of roughly 2 million. Topped the box office, beat major studio releases, and helped cement Art the Clown as one of the defining horror icons of a new generation. Yeah! But none of that happens without unforgettable characters. We're going to meet some of them tonight. One man transformed Art the Clown from a terrifying practical effects creation into a horror legend, Mr. T. Howard Thornton! Also, here with us today, one of the most incredible characters in the franchise, the little pale girl herself, Amelie McLean, everybody! And I believe we're waiting on Samantha Scafidi. We're at the signing table right now, but we'll start right here.
What's up?
Hello.
What the powers! All right, David, we'll start with you. When you first started talking to Damien about the character Art the Clown, how much of Art the Clown was fully formed before the conversations even started with you?
Well, I was not the first actor to play Art. That was Mike Gianelli, who played him originally in All Hallows Eve. And I wanted to take things a little bit further with the character because Mike's background they had asked for in the audition. They asked for people that had, oh, there's Sam! Sam!
Victoria is herself, everybody.
Nice of you to join us. She had to get out of the bathtub. But anyway, yeah, so like Mike had already played him, and they were looking for someone that had clowning experience or physical comedy experience. And that was my background. Did I do something wrong? Yes?
Sorry.
Oh. It's Mama over here, isn't it? But anyway, so yeah, I was like, this is perfect for me. So I talked to Damien, and we were kind of like going through it all like together when I was like, tell me about this character, like what is his background, what motivates him, what's his origin. He's like, let's come up with that together. So that was like kind of an experimental thing. So I was very glad that we did the pizzeria scene pretty early on in the film, because that's when we really solidified where the character was going to live. Because I was doing all this clownish stuff with the character, like getting up and walking away with little jumpy steps, and all the production of the ring, all that kind of stuff. He's like, that's something I didn't think about, because like when Mike played him, he just played him like a guy in a costume. And I wanted to take that. I was like, well, he's a clown, and I think that will separate him from all the other silent killers out there. If there's more clownish aspects to the character, that physical comedy, the broad facial expressions, I feel like that will separate from the rest of that pack of silent killers. And I was glad that he was okay with that. So we've just experimented with that going on. It's always a fine line we have to walk with the character, because we don't want to go too silly with things, And so we will sometimes film two different parts of a scene. We'll do like a few takes very serious, and then he's like, okay, Dave, go crazy, have some fun, and then I will add the clownish stuff, and we'll see what works. So we can, during the editing process, we can say, oh, do we need it to be a little funny here, or do we need it to be a little more serious here? And so it's an interesting type of walk that we're always going on for this character.
Yeah, I was going to ask, at what point did you realize the comedy wasn't necessarily working against the character?
Comedy is against
the horror of the character.
It depends on the scene. It depends on the moment. Like the scene where he takes the gun out and kills Tara in the first film. That's something that Damien's like, I don't want any of this to be funny at all. I don't want any emotion on your face. Just you're furious. You're just done. I'm like, cool, let's do that. So sometimes he knows exactly where he wants the part to be serious, but there are other times like, let's just let his fun side out. That's usually when he's just fucking with people out in public, which are always my favorite things to film, like the pizzeria scene, the costume shop scene, and of course the bar scene and the mall scene. I mean, that was a blast. Woo! Yeah, fuck them kids.
And Samantha, I've never had an opportunity to speak with you before. It's so nice to be able to talk to the lady behind the makeup, which is awesome. So talk to us about your entry into the franchise and meeting Damien for the first time, and kind of what you knew about Victoria as this was all starting, and did you ever imagine that she'd become such a central character?
Oh man, I tell people this all the time when I read the script. I didn't grow up in the horror genre. I knew nothing about slasher, so I read it, and Damien literally writes what you see. And I remember being so just like, oh, I can't do this. Like, I am definitely turning this down. And then I think like 2 months passed, and I heard back from him, and he was like, I want you to do the role. And I was like, great, yeah, I'll do it, because I must have forgotten like what had happened 2 months prior. But I thought, you know what, I'll take a paycheck. No one's gonna fucking see this movie. And I kid you not, when we sat down in the theater in Lincoln Center, it was like a little horror weekend. I was so just impressed by everything that Damien had done for what little we had. And but in terms of it going on to a second and a third film, I don't think any of us knew it was gonna become a franchise, let alone be as successful as it is now. And I definitely thought every film that I have done, 1, 2, I'll say 1 and 2, I thought I was always dead at the end of them. And like the little engine that could, you know, she just keeps coming back. But yeah, it's been very magical to kind of go on that journey with everyone, and Damien specifically, as he discovered, you know, where he wanted the story to go, and specifically Vicky.
Let's roll a clip of one of the first times they meet, the Vicky chase scene, if we will.
So young.
Damn good saran wrap.
So, fun fact about that, we only had 2 plastic bags. Which I don't know why we only had 2 plastic bags. He could have had 20 plastic bags. It probably cost nothing, but we had 2 takes to get that. And I thought, I got this, it's gonna be easy. And I panicked so intensely that I ripped it off immediately. Damien's like, okay, well, don't do that again. We have 1 more plastic bag. And so it was so dumb.
Yeah, and also the bird part, that was just me messing around and being funny on set, because they're like, we gotta do it again. I'm like, fuck you. And they caught that and they just thought it was funny. And they're like, hey, we'll keep that in there. So I'm like, great.
How do you guys choreograph something like that looks very dangerous to
It was
do?
real.
Make it look real, right? Well, you said you freaked out at the bag, right? For the first time they did it. Is that why?
I was very young then, so I was very naive. I'm like, yeah, put it in plastic. I was that actor who was like, I want it to be real, so really choke me. Like,
Actually
really.
choke you in the back.
Yeah, I don't want to act, you know what I mean? That was. But now I'm older and I become a hypochondriac, and I'm like, okay, I could probably die, so let's not do that. But no, we were very indie, so it was everything was talked through. Damien's amazing, always checking in to see, are you comfortable? This is what we're gonna do. How do you feel? So I always felt taken care of. And yeah, the adrenaline just is pumping. But yeah, we would map it out.
Yeah, we also had like, if it was getting too much for her, she was going to just whack me.
Like a
So
safe
I
word or
knew
something.
that, yeah, because there wasn't a safe word because there's no way she could talk. So she was gonna like just tap me.
Yeah.
Also, the truth is like the first time I did it, I immediately ripped it off. I mean, I had that's the thing. It was the temptation to not rip it off was the hardest thing. I was always in control.
When people talk about Victoria, they usually talk about art, trauma, possession, transformation, but I've always kind of felt that the tragedy of Victoria is terror. Do you think Victoria ever truly recovered from the loss of her sister, or is every version of Victoria that we see carrying that loss?
I love this so much. Even Amelie turned to me and said, "You're gonna love this question." What I really love about the Terrifier franchise is the fact that two of the main female characters are Vicky and obviously our final girl, Sienna. And you have two women who undergo immense trauma, and one that overcomes that trauma but at a cost, which is Sienna. And then you have Vicky who succumbs to that. She descends into madness. And I think that is a very realistic portrayal of what trauma can do to an individual. I think the trauma for Vicky specifically is not only the loss of someone that she loves more than anything in the world, which I think I can identify with. I have brothers that I absolutely love, and the idea that something could happen to them in that way especially is horrifying. But then it's also that compounded with her identity literally being taken from her, not being able to look in the mirror and remind herself of her own strength. And I think that trauma from you never overcome trauma. That's something that you carry not only in your mind but in your body and your physio. Like I advocate a lot for people who undergo domestic violence because I myself experienced that 10 years ago, and I learned firsthand how our body literally carries that trauma. And I think she carries that in her mind, in her body. And she's just a character that wasn't able to overcome that, sadly. But I think that those characters also need that representation.
When you play Victoria now, is there any of Victoria actually left?
Well, so the truth of it is, once in 2, her eyes light up. She's completely out of control, and that's what I tell people all the time. Victoria, once she becomes possessed, has no control. When she enters into 3, she's still in the body. It is only until she gets in the tub and she slits her wrist that Vicky is literally released, and that's only because the entity of the little pale girl is just kind of bored of her. When she's looking in the mirror and she says, "Oh, Vicky used to be so hot and I was gonna fuck you," and she pretty girl, and she bangs her head. She's taunting her and she's torturing her to the very last, and then she's just like, "Okay, I'm done," and she releases. So Vicky's not in control. And at that moment, she's completely released, and then she's just a physical vessel for this entity, which I think is a representation of trauma and the madness that can, that one can succumb to because of that trauma.
And how many fans of Little Pale Girl, right? Incredible. When she comes on the screen for the first time in Terrifier 2, our minds are blown. Such a cool character. So Amelie, you're entering this world later after the first film, obviously. As the new kid walking into set and kind of seeing what David and Victoria built over the years, what was it like stepping into that environment for you?
I was 10, so I was definitely the youngest one by far. I was pretty nervous at first just because I had big shoes to fill. I knew that I wanted to do good on this set, and I wanted to prove to Damien that I could be a good little pale girl and I could be what he wanted, because I knew that this role was really important to him. So I just remember the first day walking on set, right before we filmed the possum scene, I met David in costume. I did not meet him out of costume. I met him in costume, and 20 minutes later, we filmed the possum scene. So basically, the possum scene was just us getting to know each other because I had met him literally 20 minutes prior. But yeah, I think I know I loved it, and I think what helped me to be comfortable on that set was knowing David and knowing Damien and knowing that they are really good people, and just because he's creepy in a costume doesn't mean that he's like mean in real life, because he's the opposite. He's super sweet. You're like the opposite of your character in real life. So that helped me a lot when I was little, just knowing that everyone was sweet in real life.
And David, what do you remember about working with Amelie for the very first time?
Oh my God! It was just like the funny thing is, I met both of them the first time in full costume and makeup. Like
They did no introduction.
By design? Did David want that?
I know, it's just how it happened. Just like Sam.
Tell the truth of what scene I met you in makeup.
Yeah, the first time she really met me, because we briefly met one night where she was coming in to do some stuff. The first time she really met me was when I was in the full the moo and the meow meow. So I was just like, I'm like, hi. I'm David, nice to meet you, and I'm very cold right now, I'm sorry. Welcome to Terrifier. It was interesting, so no, it was funny, it was like the first time I actually met Sam outside as just myself, is because she showed up to set at the same time I did, and I was talking to her and she had no idea who I was. And I was like, it's me, Dave. She's like, oh my God! So yeah, it's kind of weird way to be introduced to your co-stars in full makeup and costume. So yeah, and like with Amelie and I, we just played. It was just like, hi, let's just do this. Let's play with this dead possum.
Well, you're really good with kids.
What's that?
I said you're very good with kids, especially in the makeup.
I used to be an elementary school teacher, so just like, yeah, they had me in charge of kids. So yeah. In Alabama, so you take that for what it is.
God.
Yikes. But yeah, so it was just fun. It was just we had a lot of fun. We actually there's so much not deleted footage, just unused footage from that scene alone. We were just doing all these weird things with this possum. Like I was doing a puppet show with it, and I was pretending it was a dog, so that's why I had the stick at that one point. I was like playing fetch, and of course it's just lying there, just not moving. Then I'm like, play dead. Hey, that kind of, we were just having fun with this thing, and it's just like it was just been Jonathan just standing there for 5 minutes going until we throw it at him. So it's like Dave's like, well, we got to cut some of this out. Well.
Amelie, what was it like getting into the makeup of Little Taylor? Have you ever done anything even closer remotely to that before?
No, I had not, and it was a very big process. It took about 3 hours to get into makeup. I had sclera contacts, which cover your whole eye, and they're extra thick, and so I had to have an eye contact specialist on set at all times to numb my eyes and put the contacts in and take them back out. The thing that was hard about that is those type of contacts can only stay in your eyes for about like 20 to 30 minutes. Because your the tissue cells in your eye will start to die because they don't get oxygen. So they had to keep taking them out and putting them back in. And then Damien would be like, oh sorry, we need to film another scene. I didn't like how that one turned out, so then I have to put them back in again and take them back out. And then the hair was a whole nother process. That was my real hair. So just the knotting of that was a whole thing. And then we would finish filming in the middle of the night, and I would have 2 hours of detailing to do. And I'm tender-headed, so, but it was worth it. It was amazing. The process, the end, what am I trying to say? The end
Process, the end process.
The end
End result. The end result.
The end result was worth it. They glued hair on my arms. that's something that not a lot of people know. I have people in my Instagram comments that are like, you have really hairy arms. Like, it was glued on, not actually my arm. But yeah, just a lot of different Easter eggs and little small things that...
Her teeth are like reversed too, like the uppers are her upper teeth are the lower teeth and the lower teeth are the upper teeth.
Yes.
It's bleh.
At one point, I'm not sure if it made it into any of the scenes, but I had teeth on my fingernails.
No way.
Yes.
Forgot about that.
Yes.
I don't remember
think
seeing
maybe you can see it in like a scene or two. I'm not sure, but I remember that was like a prototype at one point. I had like teeth growing out of my fingernails.
Oh my God.
Damien's a genius. He comes up with all these elaborate ideas. And that results in a long makeup process, but it's worth it.
All right, we're gonna shoot back to Terrifier 1 and watch a clip, possibly one of the most important clips in the Terrifier storyline, I would say. And it's the one starting with At the Morgue. We got anyone rolling the clip? At the Morgue.
There it goes. Your 15 minutes of fame is worth a 6, bitch.
Thanks again for everything, Doctor. You'll be in our prayers.
Please, don't mention it. We're all gonna miss this one. She's been so cooperative. Makes everyone laugh.
She certainly has a monster sense of humor.
It's good. It's a good thing. Important to stay positive, right?
Absolutely. Good spirits. She'll be fine.
Well, take care of yourself, Victoria. I'll see you in a couple of months.
Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome.
So long, Doctor.
Goodbye.
What do you say, kiddo? Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, and good luck with your interview tomorrow.
Hell yeah. So Samantha, this is kind of the moment that Victoria's life effectively ends, not physically, spiritually and emotionally. Everything you know about the world has been shattered at that point, that character. Did you see her as a survivor at that point, or as somebody who already began transforming into something else?
I do believe that we all have that survivor in us, and I do believe she was holding on as long as she could. You know, that end clip is before, obviously, she goes on the news reporter show. And what we learn on that show, or the show with the news reporter, what we learn is that in the time that she left the hospital, she was isolated and she was also ostracized. So not only did she go over, you know, she lost her sister and she was dealing with the actual trauma from that, but people also, instead of coming to her aid and giving her love and showing up for her, they actually basically pushed her away and she became isolated with her trauma alone, which is another, I think, very real thing. So I believe she's a fighter. You saw it in Terrifier, but I think all of that as the basis and then compounded, you know, because there's just so much cruelty in the world, and she experienced that firsthand with the reporter, which is obviously the moment that she snaps. I think that moment is the beginning of the end, I think, and along the way she's doing everything to keep it together.
And in this scene at the beginning, obviously, you know, Art spends most of the movie having the most evil, twisted fun imaginable. But when he comes back there, it almost has like a mythological feel to it. Did your understanding of the character and the trajectory completely change when you read that scene?
Oh yeah, because that's actually a scene we added later on too. That wasn't originally supposed to be there. we just decided to add that after they did a first test screening in 2016 at a horror festival in Telluride, Colorado. And they're like, we want to add some more stuff. So Dave was like, let's put a code into the film. So we added that whole word scene. And I like it because, like, well, in case we ever want to make a sequel, make people think, hey, he's coming back now. Because in the original script, he was just dead at the end. It was just a guy dressed as a clown and dead. He kills himself at the end, which is a pretty interesting way to go out, too. He went out on his own terms. But that's where I feel like before that, Art was a human being. And then he comes back from the dead, he's something more. There's something else inside of him now. He's more powerful, there's something else. And I think we're going to find out probably more about that in part 4, which I'm excited to dig into. So,
Even back at that point, was Damien already starting to think about the genesis of the character, and was a little bit of 2 kind of steeping in there?
Probably by that point, because when we were filming, we were always like, it might be fun to do a sequel to this. We don't know, so we're always just kind of brainstorming ideas just for funsies. If we ever got that opportunity, it's like, yeah, let's go ahead and just put the little breadcrumbs out there in case we actually can make a sequel to this. So it was there. I was always hoping we would be doing more sequels because I like the character a lot and I want to do more things with him. I thought there's a lot more stuff we can play with him and play with that universe in. So I'm glad we've gotten that chance to do that.
It's fascinating too. So, by the time Terrifier 2 comes around, Amelie enters the picture right at the beginning, and the franchise really expands beyond that slasher film and turns into just more elements of fantasy are brought in, and the supernatural, and then of course we meet Pale Girl. What did Damien tell you about the character? Who or what she was? We've heard, Damien never really fully explains her. Some fans think she's Emily Crane. Some think she's a demon wearing Emily Crane's face. Some think she's something even older. What was Damien telling you at the time?
Nothing.
Nothing at all?
I know as much as you guys do. I have my own theories. I really like the Emily Crane one. The theory that she's Art's past victim and she's come back in the little pale girl's body. Also a theory that she's Art's daughter. I don't know. Trying to think of what else. There's a theory that she's just a figment of his imagination. Some people think she's the devil.
All the above.
Literally, it could be anything. And I think that's part of why I enjoyed playing her is because I didn't know exactly what she was. I think if I had been told specifically what she was, that might have limited me a little bit. Like, I think the fact that I had no clue was part of why I played her so, creepy and just deranged, because I didn't know what she was. So I kind of just got to make it up as I went.
I always had a theory too, and I have no idea what Damien's going to do with this, but I was saying this to him way back when I read the script, was like, I love that idea, because I wanted to tie, because there's one character I always loved in the first film, and I always wanted that character to explain more, because she seemed to know about Art. She said, he is the cat lady, where she's like, he's doing this because he thinks this is funny. It's like, she knows all this stuff kind of about him in some weird way. And the baby doll that she has in the first film is named Emily. So I've talked to Damien about this, and I was like, this was always my theory. It was like, who knows what he's going to come up with? But I always thought that could have been Emily Crane's mom, and that's why she went crazy. Now she could not deal with the trauma of losing her child, so this baby doll has become her baby Emily in her mind. This is her actual daughter that was killed by Art earlier. That's my theory. I have no idea what Damien's going to do with it in part 4, if he is going to do anything with it. But that's what I thought would be cool. So I just put that out to the universe.
I love that. How about you, Samantha? Did you play Vicky with any association to the Pale Girl or the Pale Girl entity at all?
In 3, yeah. By 3 I understood that Vicky was possessed by the entity of the Pale Girl. that was something that Damien made very clear to me. And I think when it came to approaching the character, Damien had a very specific vision of Vicky. He loved the idea that she was nuts, she had the most horrible potty mouth, she's unpredictable, she's dark, and so that, you know, the little pale girl is a demon, it's this entity, it's pure evil. So I had a lot of fun with that, because I think I always say to people, I've had a lot of fun playing the villain, and I don't know what that says about me, but you know, I could show up to set and it's very black and white. She is pure evil, so I could just get to set and basically fuck with people. But in like Vicky as a survivor in 1 and even 2, that's a real place that you have to go to, and that can be extremely challenging and hard to reach. And sometimes, as an individual, you don't really necessarily want to go there because it could touch upon your own stuff. So that's why for Vicky in 3, it was very exciting to play. And I did have fun torturing some people on set.
I'm actually curious, what elements of what Amelie brought to the Pale Girl went into your performance of being possessed by that entity?
Well, I mean, Amelie does an amazing job at physical, physical expression, especially with just the way she moves and as she tilts her head, and it's very extreme. So there's definitely, remnants of that into Vicky. There's that kind of unpredictability and that kind of jarring movement. I think those are definitely iterations that have been pulled from the amazing performance that Amelie does.
Oh, thank you.
So David, you spend, obviously in the first movie, kind of tromping around by yourself, and then in this one you have a partner in crime.
Yeah.
You guys, it's almost like a twisted comedy duo.
That was great.
Did it bring anything out in your portrayal of art that you really loved digging into and having a partner?
Oh yeah, because I like you got to see some other aspects of the art in this too, because he gets annoyed with her at times. I liked like he's like the scene where they come after he's just been resurrected again. Take that, Jesus! I've come back more times than you. Here comes a lightning bolt. But it's like he's tired, and she's over there just honking the horn in his ear, and it's this beautiful callback to the first film where Art does it to Victoria and is honking at her. It's just like, I love that now he's getting annoyed by it. It's like, oh, will you stop it? It's like, I have got a headache right now. I literally just got my head reattached to my body. Will you just let me chill the fuck out right now? And I just love that bit. It's just like, this is great. It was those little things, because it was not like they were totally buddy-buddy. It's more like it was just like this, they have to work together, and it's like this, like, he's a lone wolf type of character. It's like, okay, I understand this entity is what has brought me back from the dead twice. I need to partner up with this thing. It's like, there's a whole, like, goals that he's given, direction that he's given by this character. He's like, he likes to just cause chaos. He's like, no, you gotta get to work, you gotta get Sienna, you know, it's like, oh, okay, whatever, fine, I'll do that too, but can I kill some people on the side, please? Can I just blow up a mall with kids? That'll be fun. Can I please? So it's this fun little dynamic we were able to work with there. It's kind of great. Then later on, we have the whole entire scene with the family. That's where, okay, he's kind of like growing more attached to her. It's like, okay, you're actually kind of twisted and fun. Okay, this is kind of, let's really, and I really wish we could have done the full scene that we had originally written. That we had to cut like half of that scene.
It was like a 20-page scene.
Yeah.
And we only shot like 10 pages.
It went through some dark places too. That I was like, how are we going to get away with what we're doing to Gabby, especially?
That says a lot.
You know, I don't want to say any of that stuff because it might be in part 4. I have no idea, but
Yeah.
we did some horrible things to just torture Sienna, what with Gabby and everything. It was just bad.
I love
What
how
were
they
they?
all thought it was bad, and I was like,
What were they?
bad about this?
I'm not telling you because it might be in part 4. I have no idea.
It was, yeah, I guess it was bad, but it didn't seem that bad when we were doing it. Maybe because I was the one who was doing it. Yeah.
We had fun though. It was fun. It was just like, but there was so much more that we were going to be able to do together, and I was like, oh my god, this is insanity.
I thought the laundromat scene is brilliant. Brilliant in the interplay between you two. What do you remember about filming that scene?
Coldness.
Yes. Yes.
It was so cold because we had to turn off the heat in there because it was so loud and all the sound, you know, equipment was picking up all the bzzz, all that. So like, we got to turn off the heat, Dave. We're sorry. And I'm like, but I'm basically naked. I'm like, great. So I was just more concerned about being cold and also just not being inappropriate around a child. So like, all the stuff where I'm not really wearing anything, she wasn't there for. I made certain, like, I do not want, I would feel so awkward having a child on set during anything like that. I'm like, this is awkward. So I was like, so they said she was done for the night. I'm like, okay, David, time to get out of your clothes. I'm like, oh, yeah.
So like the facial exchanges, like, and you guys would change. She wasn't even there for those.
For some of it, like when we were doing patty cake and stuff like that. Yeah. But a lot of that, it was just like, no, that I had pants on, thankfully. So I was like, yay. But it was a fun, crazy night though.
I remember having fun with the eye poking.
Yeah.
That was super fun. I don't know why. I just remember, I have a strong memory of just having fun doing that whole part of it.
Oh, I also had the cops come that night too.
You did?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, every single film, there's been something involved with the police showing up. I'm like, oh god.
What stage were you in when the police gave you the laundromat?
Wearing my underwear, and that was it. And it's all because there was a scene where, like, you know, where I'm walking in, so we're doing exterior shots, and by that point, people were starting to go to work. It was early in the morning in New Jersey, and someone apparently had called into the police and said they saw a clown covered in blood going into that laundromat. And so we're sitting there, and it's doing the whole scene where I'm just doing the patty cake where she's not there, and I'm just doing it to the air, and all of a sudden, whoop, whoop, and you see this cop car show up, I'm like, oh, shit. Because there's a story about the first film where the SWAT team showed up, and I was like, oh, here we go again. Yeah, I'll get there too. So yeah, I'm like sitting there, and whoop, whoop. I'm like, oh, and David's like, Dave, you know, it'd be really funny if you just totally go and fuck with the police right now. I'm like, no. And it's this female cop that comes out. I'm like, oh, great, even worse. Here I am like this. And she comes in, she's like, so we hear that there's some clown covered in blood in here. And I just kind of lean forward. I got the newspaper covering me up. And I'm like, hi. It was me. She's like, can you stand up for him? Like, you don't want me to do that right now. She's like, oh, I see why we were called. Like, you're filming a movie? Yeah. So that was fun. In part one, they showed up the night that we were doing the, there was this like very Jerry Springer argument going on outside at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was bored while they were doing Tara's death in the other room, shooting her in the head. You know, and I'm watching the argument, and the ladies see me, and I'm like, hi, I forgot how I looked. So I'm just in full clown makeup with blood all over, and I'm like, hi, in this abandoned warehouse in Trenton, New Jersey. And so they're like, ah! They run off, and I'm like, oh, shit. And about 15 minutes later, Damien, our producers, come in, and they're like, hey, Dave, we got someone here that wants to visit you. And I'm like, oh, at that time, like, our producer had just been doing some work with Tom Sizemore, and I thought he was going to visit the set. So I was like, oh, sweet, okay, well, just tell me when to come out. I'm like, okay, well, don't come out to it. Well, okay, I'll come out when you tell me. And there's this, like, roll-up garage door, and so I'm, like, waiting. They're like, Dave, come out. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I come up, it's like 15 of New Jersey's finest. And they're like full riot gear. Like they had the shields, they had the assault rifles. I think a guy had a grenade launcher. I was like, and my butt just puckered. It's like, and I was like, this is where I die. And I just like stifled out this little, what's up guys? And there's silence. And I'm like, oh, shit. And then they all just start laughing. And I'm like, oh my God. They're like, yeah, man, if you had come out first, we would have shot you inside. I'm like, I believe you. Because our porta potty was out there. So I was so glad I was not using that porta potty because I was like, I gotta go back in. Because that was scary. And then one of the guys was afraid of clowns too. And so they're all wanting the pictures like, hey, go over there with Joey, get a picture with Joey. He's like, no man, I can't do it, I can't do it. No, get away. It's like, you got a rocket launcher on you. I think you're gonna be fine. So that was great. And then part 3, I don't know if we should tell this, but it's the bar we filmed the Santa scene in.
Yes.
So we didn't know this the whole time we were filming there, and we're making jokes about the fake ice snow that we were using because it looked like powder of some sort, if you know what I mean.
Got it, yeah.
And we're all joking about it. And we didn't realize because later, like months later, one of Damien's friends worked for the FBI. He's like, yeah, we've been watching you guys film Terrifier 3. And we're like, what? Yeah, it's like, yeah, they had the largest drug bust in Staten Island history. And it was at that location. That they had that whole entire place under surveillance. So they were watching, and we're like, we had no idea. But we would have these weird people show up at like nights, and they were for security for the club down there. Like, but there's no one coming to this club, so like these people would just stand there like, yeah, we're here for security. And I'm like, this is weird. I had no idea. So what's gonna happen in part 4?
Yeah, exactly.
Damn. I remember in part 2, we were in the club. Like the club scene where I pop up and Sienna sees me, and we were using like the smoke to make the scene look smoky, and we accidentally set off the smoke alarm, and it called the fire department on us. And I remember Damien was like freaking out, and they were trying to call him back and be like, no, we were just using the smoke. But I remember that.
It's incredible, guys. Indie filmmaking, right? Yeah.
You can't write this stuff. It's like, oh God, ice is going to show up in part 4.
All right, I think we got another clip. This is Vicky with Art's Head. We got Vicky with Art's Head.
Oh, fun.
Was that a puppet art head, or was it?
I held your head at one point.
Both, yeah. Like we had a head that was actually lying there in her lap, and then because I had the stuff connected to the tubing and stuff like that, and then I had to also like lie down the exact same position, and they filmed my face, so they digitally put my face on the fake head that was there. Yeah. Now, that scene wasn't supposed to happen. That wasn't how it was originally filmed even.
No, because I wasn't supposed to birth your head.
Yeah.
I was supposed to die into.
Yeah.
Because he was going to come out of the back of my head. We actually filmed it with Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had filmed all of that, and Damon had just finished editing all of the footage of the face, and then a little movie called Malignant came out.
Remember this?
And I'm like, dang you, James Wan? Because we're like, oh crap, we're gonna have to redo the whole entire ending and everything. And we're like, how are we gonna do this? And it was our costumer, Olga,
Olga,
that came up with the idea. Is like, well, why doesn't she just give birth to his head? And I'm like,
it's pretty extraordinary.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's pretty messed up, but that's awesome. And that changed the whole trajectory.
I think he was joking when she said it too, though. And
yeah.
David's like,
that's really good. That's great, and that's what we did, and that's why because we're going to have to kill off Vicky at the beginning of part 3, and we ended up
Oh yeah, I remember getting that email. He's like, "You're gonna have to come back to set." I'm like, Jesus Christ, no.
Yeah.
Obviously, very happy that I did.
So yeah, and we actually filmed another scene that didn't make it into part 3 where she reattaches my head.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and we spent the whole day doing that too.
I think that was also a few people on set, even Olga's favorite scene that we had shot, even just like visually, because it's literally me, like hammering your head onto your body.
Yeah, it's like I have my decapitated body there, and she like sticks a fork into the stump and like slams my head down on top of it, and then puts all this duct tape around. So you see the duct tape on my neck in the subway scene. It just didn't make it in the film for like timing reasons or something like that. But I love that scene.
It's a great moment, but I think like in terms of editing, it just made sense to like cut forward in time. Otherwise, it just kills the momentum of the movie, right? Because you've got this one scene, but it's jarring in terms of pacing.
Yeah. Samantha, 2 questions for you. First, I guess as an actor, to go from survivor to be a vessel for the horror, did you find that liberating or terrifying as an actor? What did that feel like to be able to take her here?
I find it extremely liberating. I think that I always joke with people at the table that I very much am like a people pleaser. I want people to feel good, to be happy, I never want anyone to be upset. So my whole life has always been like so to come in and to play a character where I get to like get out all my female rage and get all my, or anything, any little, I think there's definitely like something that I'm probably exercising that is deep within me. So there's a liberation in that aspect. And also it's just really awesome to be able to be in a horror franchise and to be lucky enough to play one of those roles, let alone 2. Oh wait, so sorry, the question was it liberating? And then, okay, the other side to that was I really do understand like how the mind is a very delicate place. I mean, with my own experience, with my own trauma. So I remember with Vicky, also growing up Catholic, I mean, we didn't even have the word devil in our house. So I was like, all right, we're not summoning the demons into my own brain. So I definitely went into 3 allowing myself to have fun. I think that was like something they always told us in like acting school is have fun, have fun. I was like, okay, whatever. And then I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna have fun with this. I'm not gonna allow myself to go, I don't want to say method, because I very much do believe in like being in the role, like deep diving into someone's history, knowing every answer to every question, even if you never see that in a movie. But I think in regards to this, it's just like I said before, it was like black and white. So I just like, you know what? I'm not gonna go there mentally. I'm not gonna like try to contemplate the evil and go too deep in. I'm just gonna have fun and just keep it there.
And what are the challenges of doing that with that crazy prosthetic on your face? Can you see anything out of that?
I'm legally blind while we're filming, so the makeup up until the bathtub scene in 3 is a 2 to 3 hour process, and that's just a face prosthetic, full face prosthetic, and a neck prosthetic. In 3, after the bathtub scene, all those years later, that's a 6 to 8 hour process. And once I have that face on, I can see my whole left eye is completely covered because it's one full piece, and I can see that much until I pop the eye onto the prosthetic, and then it's like looking through a very tiny straw. So I'm legally blind for like sometimes 12, 20 plus hours on set, and it is very difficult to navigate, but also even sometimes to be in a scene with someone, because what looks good to the camera doesn't always look good for me, and sometimes I'd have to cheat my head. So instead of like looking at Lauren in the scene, I'm staring at like a C-stand, or I'm staring at like, you know, the wall, which is a whole other interesting thing, because you have to go somewhere in your mind in order to do the performance. But I also think the aspect that was really beneficial of going through that process is by the time I got to set, I was like right at the edge. So I definitely always joke that I was pushing that into my performance. So yeah.
All right, well, one last question as we're coming to the end of Monsterpalooza for Friday here. David, where are you hoping that Terrifier 4 takes Art as a character and the opportunities to flesh him out and do even more crazy stuff with him?
Oh gosh, I just want to see him go crazy. Just like fully just unleash in this next one. Just because, I mean, I feel like in this, I loved how part 3 ended, And that's the one thing, because Damien wrote, I think, about 14 different versions of part 3. And the one thing I was like, do not change the ending where Sienna and Art are. Because I love that they are both weak into the movie. They're both in a desperate place where they have both lost something very important to them and to their survival. And I was like, I like seeing Art being vulnerable for once and being scared. Like, oh crap, because, you know, basically his power source just got kicked out there. So like, oh great, I'm basically human again. I'm without power. So I feel like he's got a real sense of urgency going into this next film. And I think that's going to make him more dangerous, because usually when an animal is most dangerous is when they're cornered. And so I'm very interested to see how he's going to be responding to that in this next film. Now, I haven't read the script yet, so I have no idea what's happening, but I do know it's set on New Year's Eve, which has got me very excited. And so I'm like, oh my God. Like the possibilities for that are just like, oh, there's a lot of fun mayhem that can be had with that. So yeah, I think so. I'm very excited to see where we're going to go with that. I would love to see, you know, because you know, Gabby falls into hell. I feel like that's somehow going to be involved in this. What's going to happen with her? Because both her and the sword are in there. And the one thing that can basically defeat Art is in hell too. So I feel like there's this sense of urgency with both of them. Both Art and Sienna, that they have got to get to hell somehow. And I'm like, how is that going to happen? What is going to trigger that to happen? Like, how do you get to hell?
What is that going to look like?
I don't know. I'd like, what is Leone's version of hell? If it's in the movie, I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, what would that be? I feel like we saw a little bit of that in like part 2 with the Clown Cafe, when Sienna drops into the tank.
Surreal.
That's like, there's a hellish version down there. So like, is that what hell is like? I don't know. I'm excited as you guys. I'm like, I'm just speculating because I know Jack crap. Damien has been very, very buttoned up about part 4. I mean, a lot of us have been going to what's happening. He's not telling me anything. He's not telling Lauren anything. He's not telling Sam anything. We're all just
I thought last week we were going to get something out of him. I was like, okay, he's going to give us something. And he's like, I'm still writing. I was like, oh, God.
Yeah, it's great because like the past films, he's always been, oh yeah, we're gonna do this and this and this and this and this, and like awesome. And this one, I'm like, come on, man, I want to know. So I'm like, when everybody else found us set on New Year's Eve, that's when I found out. I was like, what the what? Yeah. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited.
Well, we are too. We cannot wait. Thank you guys all for the heart that you bring these characters. We love you so much. We got Hellboy too. I want to see you guys. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the con. All right. Have a good night. Drive safe.
Thank you.